All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we have yet another Sweet Baby Inc. game to talk about. Now, this particular video game is not quite out yet. I ended up looking it up on SteamDB, and there doesn't seem to be a release date yet on Steam, let alone anywhere, so I really can't find anything. If you could find anything, let me know in the comments down below. But we have another SBI game, and this particular game is called Hyperlight Breaker. And the reason why we're talking about this game is because they're doing something that we don't normally see too often. At least it's not mentioned anyway. And they are laying off people right before they release their game, almost as if they know what's about to happen. And they even say in what we're about to read that apparently if the game does well, then they're willing to hire back people. It's almost as if they know that the clusterfuck is about to go down.
Tonight at 11.
Doom! Now, I think this is absolutely hilarious to see a studio fire people right before the game releases. They utilize them, they take advantage of them, and then they let them go and they say, all right, sayonara, thanks for helping us release the game. If we do good, we'll let you know and we'll make sure to thank you. You know what I mean? Like, they just completely and utterly fire them and they don't give a shit. And this is the issue that's happening in the gaming industry. You guys are releasing things, you're partnering with people, and you're pushing out products that you know are going to fail. And at the end of the day, the only people who get affected are the ones who end up jobless after the game ends up failing, because they would have been able to keep their job had the game succeeded. So let's get into this article, guys, from Fandom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So again, we have an article here from John F. Trent. It says another SBI failure is incoming. Hyperlight Breaker developer lays off staff ahead of game's early access release. The company's called Heart Machine, which is the developer behind the upcoming Hyperlight Breaker, which was worked on by Sweet Baby Inc., announced that it is already laying off staff before the game even releases to early access on Steam. Now, keep in mind, this is talking about early access release. We're not even talking about an actual release. Again, I went over to SteamDB just to check out this game really quick to see if there was anything I could find out about it. One thing I will say is that ironically, this game actually has a lot of followers on Steam for the kind of game that it is. If you go to the chart, you'll realize that not only is it number 52 on Wishlist, but it has 35,000 followers on Steam. That's not necessarily a super small number, especially considering the size of this video game. I mean, you guys got to keep in mind, Star Wars Outlaws only has about 6,000, 7,000 followers on Steam, and that is a AAA game from Ubisoft. So just think about that for a second. That's really not that terrible. So I wonder what this game is going to do when it actually comes out. Now, of course, it is partnered with SBI, so you got to imagine the death note there is going to be pretty drastic, but still, 35,000 followers on Steam for a game like this is not that terrible. Then it says a report from James Batchelor at Games Industry revealed that the company dismissed a portion of its workforce, although it's unclear which departments this has affected. The company's community manager, Yi Zhang, claimed that the layoffs will not affect Hyperlight Breaker's release. Zhang even appeared to imply that laid-off employees might be able to rejoin the company, depending on the game's success. In fact, a strong and a timely launch will rekindle opportunities for those affected as we look to evolve and grow the game throughout early access. Yeah, so basically, here's what it is. They use these people to make the game, right? And now they are going to keep the people around that can keep the game running, right? Whether it's community managers, certain developers, whatever, they're going to keep people around to keep the game running. And everybody else who is involved in making the actual game and creating the actual game, yeah, you got to get the hell out. You know, you got to get the hell out. You're done. We're not going to pay your salaries while we're maintaining this game. Are you out of your mind? Hell no. Get out, and we'll pay you maybe later down the road if the game succeeds in early access. Otherwise, if it flops like most SBI games, then we're just going to fire everybody anyway, so it really doesn't matter. This is an insane strategy by this particular studio, and I find it actually pretty damn hilarious. Hyperlight Breaker was one of the games that Embracer Group retained after it sold off Gearbox to Take-Two Interactive Software, Inc. back at the end of March. The game had also been added to Sweet Baby Inc. Detective Steam Curator Group, given Sweet Baby Inc. revealed it had worked on the game in regards to world building, story structure, and character development. So it seems like they've got their hands in this game pretty heavily in terms of the overall story arc and characters and whatnot. So that's going to be pretty bad considering for this video game. Hyperlight Breaker is expected to go into early access in Steam sometime in 2025. Okay, so not even John F. Trent has released. So nobody has a release date for this game. It's sometime in 2025. It could be at any point, the beginning, the end, who knows? But it's sometime in 2025. So we are still a ways off from this game being released, and people are already realizing it's with SBI. You got to imagine this is going to hurt the game's overall, I guess, popularity and whatnot. I don't know if this is considered an indie game or a AA game. I'm really not sure. I don't know what this game's budget is. I'm sure that it's not as high as some of the other games SBI has worked on. So hopefully the game at least has some sort of success that can make up its budget relatively quickly. But still, considering that they're firing people before the game actually releases, I don't really think they have a lot of faith in what they're going to provide to customers. Then it says that after much evaluation and many conversations with our publisher, Arc Games, we decided that we needed just a little more time to get the gameplay experience polished to our standards. Therefore, we are now looking at an early access launch date of very early next year. Preston added, we don't want to ship a project, even in early access, that we're not satisfied with on a number of fronts, especially in the current state of the industry. We need to put as good of a foot forward as we can. Now, that's a great statement. I can appreciate that. And I wish that more developers had that mindset. But see, here's the problem. You have developers saying that, but you don't actually have developers showing that. That's the big difference, right? You can say, oh, you want to put your best foot forward. You can say, yeah, we need some time for more polish, blah, 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 whatever. But then when you have these developers actually saying that, when it comes to actually providing that, they don't really do it. Very few of them do it. You know who else is saying that right now? Ubisoft. Ubisoft is saying the same thing right now about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Are they going to deliver a product that's not broken on day one? Probably not. Are they going to deliver a product that's not buggy on day one? Probably not, right? So you can say all these things that sound good. You can say all these things that sound good for your PR, but until you actually do them, then people are not going to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? You're not going to earn that benefit of the doubt from gamers that already don't trust you guys as far as they can throw you. I can't throw you very far, so I don't trust you very much. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where you kind of have to prove it at some point, and just saying it over and over and over again doesn't mean a damn thing. Then it says that the game is likely dead on arrival, as nearly all of the games that SBI has worked on throughout 2024. That list includes Tale of Kenzera's Out, Unknown Nine Awakening, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, and Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Now, I actually have a hilarious video coming out about Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. It'll probably be after this video on the same exact day, so make sure to check that out, because that game is such a massive failure that they have been forced to discount their game over 90%. It's absolutely disgusting. They are so desperate to try to get as many sales as they possibly can in the hopes that, they can get a player base that's going to be excited about Batman being added to the game, when at the end of the day, the game's fucking dead. Nobody cares, and SBI is a death note for most of the games that they work on. Over 90% of the games that they've worked on have been absolute colossal flops, and the other 10% have either barely made it, or they are established franchises that sold 1/3 of what their previous non-SBI iterations had sold. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.